What's up guys, this is your product evangelist Stefan speaking, and in this video we're going to be talking about bounce rate. Most of you likely already know what bounce rate is, but just for the uninitiated, the bounce rate is the amount of visitors that come to your website, view one page, and then leave again. Now the reason it's called bounce rate is actually a metaphor for a ball bouncing on a wall and then coming right back, except your visitors are coming directly from Google to your page, not finding anything they like, and then they leave again. So why should you care about bounce rate? Well, you should, because Google and other search engines use bounce rate to figure out if they showed a good result or not. After all, a search function is meant to show you the right result and then send you to the page where you should stay. If you come back, that means they showed a wrong result. That also means that you're going to rank lower in Google and other search functions if you have a high bounce rate, because it means that they didn't show the right result. So then, why do users bounce? First of all, the important thing to realize is that brand affinity is much lower today than it has been earlier. Brand affinity means that people don't generally care that much about where they're shopping from, as long as they can get the products that they want to a price that they think is fair. Now, I know that's of course not always the case. There are great web shops out there, and I also have my favorite web shops that I do use regularly. But you have to be aware that you are not necessarily the only one selling the products that you are. So you need to make it very easy for the users coming to your web shop to find what they are looking for. A big part of this actually comes down to exposing your catalog where it matters the most. It's a common fallacy that users want to browse your web shop a lot and go through all your categories, because if they don't know your web shop already, it's just so much easier to go right back to Google and then find the results somewhere else. So how can you solve this as a web shop? The first thing to be aware of is that the user is on this page likely because they have some interest in this product, but maybe they didn't find the right one. Let's say that I'm browsing for a new pair of Nike shoes and I'm actually landing on your product page, but it wasn't the right color, or maybe it wasn't the exact right price. So I want to buy this type of shoe, but it's not this one. Now, if you don't expose your other products directly on this product page, it's just so much easier to go back to Google. So you need to make sure that on your product pages, you show what other types of this product you have available and make it very easy for them to see what it is and then go and buy that product instead. In other words, you need to show your best alternatives on your product pages. And now you might think, yes, that sounds very good and all, but it's also incredibly time consuming having to go through all of my products, figure out what the alternatives are, and then actually put them on the pages. And that's where Clerk comes in, because it doesn't have to be time consuming. Let's dig in and see how you can do this in no time. So here I have my Clerk.io backend open, where we're going to be taking the content which we'll use to add alternatives to every product page of the webshop. I also have my Shopify backend open. Of course, it doesn't matter if you use a different webshop platform, it'll be the same process for getting the recommendations in there. I also have the webshop open here so we can see the results as they are coming to the webshop. Now, the way I've created this design already is that I've added what's called a content. That content is set up to use best alternative products, which will completely automatically figure out what the best alternatives are for every single product on the webshop. We do this through building a knowledge graph through AI, which basically understands the concepts of what a shoe is, what a shirt is, what it means when something is blue, yellow, all of these things, which means that you don't have to lift a finger to figure these things out yourself. This content also has a design that I've chosen, which I've done in our What You See Is What You Get editor. It could also be done in HTML if you want to be more concrete in the design. Now, the only thing that we actually need to do after creating this content is finding its embed code. You can see here that I've chosen Shopify as the platform, and we need this because otherwise we don't know which product we're looking at. But once you choose your platform here, we automatically fetch the ID of each product, which means that you can just insert it directly in your template. So let's copy this code and then go to our Shopify backend. Here I'm in the file that shows the product pages, which means that when I make any changes here, it's going to kick in on every single product page of the webshop. The best place to show these recommendations will be just below the product description if it's not too long. If you have long product descriptions, you should generally put it further up, because if you don't expose the recommendations fairly quickly when customers start scrolling down, they're not going to see them. So ideally put them somewhere where they don't have to scroll down a lot before they start seeing the recommendations. I'm going to put mine here, so they are just below the return policy. So now we can go into the webshop backend here and find the place where we want to insert them. Now, it's going to be pretty far down on the page because of course it's by the end of the product. So I'm going to be finding it. It's likely around the script somewhere. I think it's actually here. Just going to insert my embed code and make it a little more pretty, like this. Yes, code can actually be pretty, don't laugh. And here, and I'm going to be saving. And now when we go to the page and refresh, we already have the alternatives. And you can see that we already understand that we're looking at a t-shirt here, so the recommendations that we should show is of course for a t-shirt. Now, it doesn't matter which page we're going to go into. Clerk automatically understands what it is it's showing recommendations for. So let's say that we're going into a glove instead, because we also want to buy some football gloves. If we then browse this product, then of course the alternatives are only gloves. And that's actually how easy it is to start recommending the best alternatives on your product page. When you do this, you're going to automatically reduce your bounce rate considerably because customers can easily find other products on your webshop and find the exact right one for them. If you want to know more about this or you want to try it out for yourself, then please don't hesitate reaching out to us. We're no more than a phone call or a live chat away. Have a fantastic day.